I've hit rock bottom. Advice? Well, this is my first time ever doing something like this. I know Reddit usually has solid advice, and that is exactly what I need right now. Let's start about 6 months ago or so. I at the time was 24, living with my mother to help be an in-home caretaker for my brother who has autism and is very low functioning. I helped with babysitting, feeding, hygiene, and things like that. About 6 months ago, when things started happening, my brother got put into a group home. He is currently 26. Not too long afterwards, my mother kicked me out of the house since she no longer had use of my services. Just to repeat, at the time, I was almost exclusively helping care for my brother until he left. I did not have a job or much of a social life because I didn't feel my mother could do what needed to be done alone. When I got kicked out, I was almost completely broke. My roommate came into my room one night and asked if I could watch her kid for a couple of minutes while she ran to the store. I said okay because why not? She was just going to the store. This happened several more times until the landlord got wind of her and what was happening, and we all got kicked out. I ended up living in my buddy's garage for the time being, but I'm due to be homeless in about 2 weeks. I have been looking for a job, but my lack of job experience has made it very, very difficult to even get an employer to give me an interview. I also don't own a car, which has also made this that much more difficult. I also can't afford to keep my phone on, so all phone messages have been getting relayed through my Google Voice account. I'm not asking for a handout or a miracle, but I am in desperate need for advice. I guess I am just hoping someone has a magical piece of advice that could help me get things turned around. I honestly do not think I will be able to survive once I don't have somewhere to sleep at night. Sorry if this was too long. I guess I am just venting a bit. Thank all of you for your advice in advance. Make use of social services. Live in a homeless shelter and find a job through an agency. You can't afford to be proud now. Most of the homeless you see on the street are either crazy or druggies, and that is why they are on the street. If you work, you can get back on your feet with the help of social services. Any cop would probably be able to point you in the direction of a homeless shelter. Maybe join the Army or the Navy. Seriously, get your ass to a recruiter and join the National Guard or Reserves. Find a slot that gives you decent training, preferably in medicine. I am an X-ray technician thanks to the Guard, but jobs are hard to come by, so choose something else. Depending on who you ask, 80 to 98% of all radiology jobs are filled. There are plenty of jobs for paramedics and CNAs, and once you are employed by a hospital, you can move up to nursing via an in-house program and get a commission in the Guard or Reserves. Edit. Air Force personnel are less likely to see combat. Alternatively, my friend has been in the Air Force for 6 years now, and he has deployed to Iraq twice and Afghanistan once, each for about 6 months at a time. Just being realistic that not everyone will experience the same thing in the Air Force. Being a paramedic or ambulance driver, etc., is a good job market to get into. As far as I can tell, most places, especially rural counties, need ambulance drivers. Also, it's very rewarding knowing that you are helping people. In general, but I'd much rather we take more of the money we spend on defending ourselves and just set up the types of services that benefit people directly rather than gamble with people's lives. And happen to be young enough to enlist, I'd say joining the military is a no-brainer. Air Force or Navy are both good choices if you don't want combat, but really I'd do whatever I need to get marketable skills. Obviously, joining isn't without its risks, but statistically, you probably aren't going to die. Navy vet here. DM86 speaks the truth. Think about Air Force. Hell, I tell everyone I know that is thinking of enlisting to either join the Air Force or Coast Guard. Wow, sorry to hear about this tough situation. Right now, the best I can do is upvote you so more people can see this, and off the top of my head, these ideas seem like possibilities. You could look for part-time, nursing home, or other caretaker-related positions due to your experience working with your brother. Type up and print out a resume if possible. Also, stay sober and optimistic. I wish you all the best, man. Thank you for the well wishes. I've been sending out my somewhat lackluster resume, but have had limited results. I had an interview at a nursing home, but did not get the job due to having relatives employed there. If you need help with your resume, PM me. I will create one for you. For free. I am a recruiter with over 16 years experience. Also, apply at every temp service you can find, i.e., Labor Ready, Manpower, Kelly, etc. They may only have short-term work. Register at every single temp place and call every single one of them about half an hour after they open and again 1/2 before they close. Talking from experience, you'll probably get a lot of voicemail if you do this, but you will be remembered as someone who really wants to work, and eventually, I know, if you're for sure willing to take the position and are for sure not a sketchy person who is really looking for a new start, please reply. But no more of that suicide talk for sure. He's not really willing to move his ass for any real work. Also, note that he doesn't have any real work experience. There could be a pattern here. I am not saying reject him summarily. Just saying be a little more careful and interview him in depth before you take on any real commitment. Good luck. Shit, dude. If you need a bus ticket, I'd gladly purchase it for you. Let me know. God damn it, Redditors. Y'all are some of the best motherfuckers in the world. I mean it. One guy's volunteering to redo this cat's resume for free. Walked door to door into every business asking if they needed help. Got a lot of respect and pity from people, but turned down day after day. He gave me the job paying me less than minimum wage under the table, but taught me a ton. Years later, I have an MS in software engineering and work on space systems. So go out there and pound the pavement. Maybe you'll get a job as a busser and become chef at a restaurant, or lay brick and open your own contracting business. Just stay away from negative influences and do the best each day. Before you know it, you'll be amazed how far you've come. Oh hey, I've heard that story when I was over at Southern California. You must be Daniel, right? Fuck yes, this. SoCal Dan has summed up what those of us that have been in this situation and have any level of success have figured out. Personally, I had the HS diploma and at some university, doesn't matter. The same thing is, he gave me the job paying me less than minimum wage under the table, but taught me a ton. An old coworker actually said to me something along the lines of how he couldn't understand how I got promoted 6 to 7 times, and ultimately well above him, when I didn't have the same level of education that he did. Pound the pavement is a good phrase for that, along with figure your own shit out. Look, if you got kicked out and figured your own way out thus far, you're on the right path. Don't get stupid. TL/DR. If you think you're too smart, too educated, and worth more than anyone else in your field, you're working for the man. Hustle. First thing you need is a P.O. box and a cell phone. They were once your friends, and you may have fond memories and attachments to them. But if you keep doing this, it will be your downfall. So what are you waiting for? Go. First of all, remember that you are awesome. You are a human being. You're the top of the fucking food chain. You have made it further than many, and if you remember this, then you'll make it further than most. You've got a brain in your head, and that's something most people waste. Stay focused. Stay off the easy way out of drugs and alcohol to mask the pain, and this will soon be a blip on the radar. You got options like the military if you need something to get you back on your feet, and long-term goals. If you can't do that right now, then remember that getting work is about risk. A guy with no fixed address and a huge gap in his resume is a risk. To mitigate that, look at rocking up to places and just asking if they'll let you work for the day for free. If you do a good job, you might get hired. If you don't, then ask them if you could use them as a reference for another day job. You've cared for your brother, so you have skills. Have you included that you were a full-time carer on your resume? Get it on there and volunteer at places where those skills would be of value. Did you pay tax when you worked? If you don't have a support structure where you are, then perhaps doing some research and a Greyhound ticket would be a good bet. Keep your head on straight. Remember, you are awesome and you will get through this. I am 5 years into a 6-year military commitment. I've seen worse than many, and it's not that bad. Now I'm sitting on many college credits and am a year away from about $50K worth of free college. Plus, I have learned lots of awesome stuff in my free time. It's not as bad as you might think, and it seems like you need the help. PM me for more. This would be my advice. Military squared me away and set me up for life. Sure, I did some shit I didn't want to, but what job doesn't? Have you tried applying to preschools or children's centers? I feel like this will be very difficult without past experience in childcare. Taking care of your family is great and all, but I don't know that somewhere that is actually a professional child care place will be very inclined to hire someone with no work history. Hey Texas, funny story. I'm 27, live with my mom. I got told just about every day how I was a piece of shit and was getting kicked out. My mom wasn't as sincere as yours, but I have to say I really understand where you're at. About November of last year, she had me convinced she was going to have me removed from the house. I didn't have a job, and I had a car that was falling apart. I was a little suicidal too. Since then, I have secured a job that pays. Okay, I have a decent used car and I still haven't been kicked out yet. I am currently saving up to move out. I have things I can do to make money once I move out that I can't do here. The advice I have for you: first, ask your mom to take you back in. Explain that you'll be homeless. I know this idea sucks, and trust me, I don't want to be living with my mom at this age, but it is a means to an end. Second, if that doesn't work, go to your local homeless shelters, check out HUD housing, check and see if your state has low-income housing help available. You need a roof over your head and a place to sleep, and you can find one for free or little money. Third, start asking everywhere if they are hiring. I know it can be hard to imagine yourself doing menial work, but it is out there, and it will put money in your pocket. Finally, start planning a future for yourself. I figured out 2 ways that I can become stable. One is legal and a lot of hard work. The other is illegal and a lot of hard work. Either way, I'm well on my way to be out in the next 6 months, and I couldn't be happier. I know life is hard, but it's worth it. This hard time that you're going through is going to give you a form of strength and integrity that most people never have the opportunity to acquire. I know I'm a shitty salesman, but you'll know what I mean soon enough. If you ever need to talk, please contact me. My mother understands that I will be homeless. She has since had some guy move in with her after she kicked me out and has absolutely no inclination to let me move back in. I have contacted a church or 2 regarding housing help, but that went nowhere. Maybe it's because I am an agnostic and God hates me. LOL, jokes, I've been asking around a lot. Friends with jobs, Facebook, Craigslist, Monster. No luck so far. I am a case manager at a homeless shelter. If there is more than one in your area, choose the one that drug tests clients. This is because you'll be more likely to end up in a shelter where the services are better. Some shelters allow people to have a few drinks and still come check in at night and never drug test. These shelters are less likely to have as well of trained staff and are motivated staff. They are also less likely to have as much funding. Community business and agencies prefer to support shelters where the residents are not currently using drugs. At the shelter I am at, we have many residents in recovery. It is not like in movies where every night you come try and check in, hoping for a bed. You have a bed reserved for whatever duration the shelter allows people to stay, typically a matter of months. Sometimes there is no set exit date. 2, most shelters have connections with agencies in the community and can help you access them with. For example, one agency, Township, provides free bus passes. We even have a salad bar. 5, if you show you're grateful for the help the shelter employees are giving you and offer to lend a hand, it will be noticed. 6, ask your case manager for help. No matter how far-fetched it may seem that there is free help for your need, ask. Many agencies have special policies for homeless individuals. They will waive fees and such. This includes, but is not limited to clothing, food, medical care, prescriptions, glasses, dental care, first month's rent, utilities, transportation, counseling, job skill development classes, personal hygiene type products, cars, and OTC medicines. 7, homeless shelters outside of inner cities tend to be safe, especially the ones that have a capacity of less than 100. It is the policy at most shelters that clients who threaten one another or get into a physical altercation are immediately kicked out. Some shelters won't even let in people who have a violent charge on their record. Where are you located? If you have any questions about homeless shelters or other agencies out there, I will be happy to answer any questions I can. You can make it through. Thank you for the advice. I applied for food stamps, but since I could not find a job in 3 months' time, my benefits have been discontinued. I'm going to start looking into shelters soon. Start volunteering at a food bank. They'll often give you first pick at the food and will pretty much let you take whatever you want, as long as you work a full shift. The produce at a lot of them is actually really good, and they usually have a strong selection of canned goods. Bonus is that if you volunteer long enough, paid positions can open up. Are you able to get welfare to cover basic needs, like a place to live and a telephone? I've been on welfare twice, each time for a couple months. And in my experience, they'll do whatever they can to help. They're used to dealing with shysters who've been not even trying for the past 5 years, just wasting social workers' time with pointless interviews and untaken advice. If you show up genuinely willing to improve your condition and willing to take their advice, they'll love you for it. You'll make their day. Another great thing about welfare is that welfare workers keep their ear to the ground with regard who's hiring for what. They know the score, and they're more than happy to fill you in. Sometimes they offer volunteer work, which is still good. It's work experience while you're living off the system, and sometimes, just sometimes, the employers who take volunteers consider hiring the ones they like. This is all assuming that welfare in your area is similar to welfare in mine, of course. But it's worth looking into. That last statement is probably the most important advice, albeit simple and even obvious. Stay sober. Stay sober. Stay sober. As Fireval has rightly said, you can get yourself into a shelter, then you have a base to operate from. Try to break the problem into manageable chunks so you're not overwhelmed. Get a job. Any job, really. Think service industry or labor dash to get your employment history started. Be eager, be early, be attentive. Save your dollar. Get a bank account. Eat ramen. Try to save enough for a motorcycle, if you're game, which is great on gas and will expand your range dramatically. Try not to think of the whole problem as my life sucks, or it will plow you under. Those are money pits of despair. Good luck, man. Remember, this world does not care, but some people do. Astra's Fireval is also right about the armed forces. Although I don't agree with our 2 wars, I've seen the military, army, dramatically help a couple people in my family to turn their lives around. It's worth exploring as it takes care of all of your problems in one fell swoop. The cost is your term of service and potentially going to war. Your call on that one. Don't get a motorcycle right off the bat. Get a moped instead. They're much more economical, if not nearly as cool. Having an engine inside instead of outside helps with weather. Also, easier to ride, and in some states 50 cubic centimeters has no special licensing, costs like $1,000, and get like 100 miles per gallon. Seriously, take advantage of social services. It took me nearly 1 year to realize I was an idiot if I were to act upon what I thought was a good idea at the time. All the thing I would have missed, I have had a baby girl since, bought a house, car, new wife. I have everything now. I would have had nothing if I didn't give myself time. Time can heal. Trust me, from someone who has been in your exact situation many times. As others have pointed out, you are young, intelligent, and healthy. Many millionaires would trade every dime they have to be your age and healthy. I know this doesn't seem like helpful advice, but instead of imagining yourself at rock bottom, realize that the world is yours. Make it your bitch. I'm almost as broke too. I also spent 5 years in the Navy submarine program. Don't kill yourself. Live and bravely discover the world. You were the fastest swimmer as a cute little spermatozoon, and you were born to survive. I know life is hard. I know people hurt you. I know there are mental, physical, and emotional addictions that are difficult to overcome. But you're not those things. You are only you, an instance of the phenomenon of life. You have a beautiful consciousness and perceive the world in a unique and profound way. Learn from your experience for the progress of self and humanity. You are not as important to anyone else as you should be to yourself. If you really have hit rock bottom, then you should be even more liberated to say fuck all and have an adventure. Good luck, fellow human. Much love. I wasn't in quite such a pickle as you, friend, but I've been pretty far down the hole myself and know how empty you can feel inside. That being said, here are some things I did. Try to find pleasures in the small things. A stranger smiles at you. Someone is kind. You make someone else happy for a moment. You save 50 cents on something. Anything to think, wow, sweet. Find someone to talk to. Therapist, friend, family. anyone who will attentively listen and, hopefully, provide objective feedback. Nothing takes your mind off of being miserable like being busy as fuck. Start a hobby that involves lots of time and attention to detail. Whittling, magic tricks, weightlifting, anything. From EXP, exercising will make you feel better, look better, and increase your confidence. Try not to overeat. Food is tasty, but it won't provide genuine comfort. Know that things will get better. It's been almost 6 years since I climbed out of my own grave, and I'm not looking back. Chin up, motherfucker. Man, it could be way worse. From your post, you're not an alcoholic or drug addict. You're young, healthy, and you've got your head on straight. You're an excellent writer. GTFO of there and never look back. It's summertime. Buy lots of cheap food in bulk and hitchhike to a new life someplace else. Army veteran here to offer you some advice on the military option that is being kicked around here right now. I would advise against it. Your head is not in a good place right now. Military indoctrination is probably the last thing you need at the moment. If you honestly decide that that is your only option, then I would recommend joining the Coast Guard. While they can, and do, get sent to faraway places to be shot at, most of what they are about is much more positive and constructive. Just know this. All of the services do this. I will use my experience as example. I wanted to be a medical laboratory technician, so I joined the Army and went to their basic medical lab course. This was a 3-year enlistment. Problem: no civilian hospital will touch a graduate of the basic lab course. The Army has an advanced med lab course, which is one of the best in the world. The waiting list for the program was 4 years long. If I was promoted to sergeant on time, year 7, this would mean another 3-year enlistment, total time, in now 12 years. By this time, I would have spent 18 years in the Army, and would have been stupid not to stay another 2 for the magical 20 years in retirement. That is how military services dangle real, civilian job employment prospects in front of recruits, and then leverage them into making the recruit make a career out of the military. The people that work in such centers are compassionate and dedicated. Please, before you go military, check them out. They have helped countless people in your shoes. I've gotten the impression that a lot of homeless people don't go to them because they don't think they're safe. My brother was homeless by choice for 7 years. He ended up traveling the US and settling in LA. He was at first just a resident, but ended up running their office for them. My brother has some issues, but intelligence was never of them. I remember seeing him for the first time in almost a decade after kicking him out of my apartment. He had a drug problem I didn't want to be involved with, and just wanted to take it all back. But he told me that me kicking him out and him being homeless cleaned him up. All of a sudden, there was nowhere else for him to fall. My parents had had enough. My sister didn't care. He told me about his trek across the US, and I was almost jealous of him. He didn't have a car. He had maybe 20 bucks in his pocket. He told me he actually gained weight. At dinner, there are always a couple tenants in khakis who just came in from work, etc. It is actually a very inviting group of people. I lurked forever and just joined to give you advice. I am a C5 quadriplegic. I have helpers. These helpers are called personal care attendants, PCAs. It is an entry-level position, and most PCA companies are desperate for help. And I'm proud of you for reaching out. It's going to be hard, but not impossible to get back on your feet. Okay, travel. I know you don't need money to live a good life. Maybe this is shitty advice. And experience something that most people with money only dream to do. Good luck, homie, but never give up. Also, don't forget about your little bro. As someone who did this for a while, and then having enough money to make it to another country with any kind of assurance of being able to afford to get back to your home country is a whole other matter. Plus, you have to be very sure of your mental state. The loneliness of the road and lack of security or stability can take its toll on you emotionally. Homelessness is homelessness. Being homeless in different cities changes nothing but the scenery. I speak as a now successful international businessman, once homeless, and number 1 is forget the suicide. It's trickery. Don't subscribe. I'm not offering miracles or handouts, but if you're in a big city and have to camp, I suggest find a mosque. Masjid, definite open at 5:30 a.m., and the big ones you can sleep in. provided you take basic ablution. Wash your feet free from any sticky devil shit so you can follow your true destiny. Hands, that you may work right good things. Mouth, that you speak virtued. And face, fresh to the world. Call it camp or oogie boogie, but will help you and not be any sort of gung-ho for your soul. If God wants to hold your heart, nothing can shake it free. Why you rarely see homeless Muslims is because we're generally obligated, if we have means, to give any other Muslim shelter for a minimum of 3 days. But the many educated among us will do it for any faith or non-faith without judgment, preconditions, or expectations dash, and we do it often. Speak from the heart like your letter, and the open heart listens. Your sincerity and patience are your assets. That's provided you're not 24/7 bathed in ing alcohol. If you're a polite, modest guy who doesn't presume to know everything under the sun, people will receive you, not steal your shit, and God willing surprise you. But never forget, you will be fairly tested. But you need to realize that where you currently are is based off the decisions that you have made up to this point. Sit down and write out where you want to be. Then write the steps it takes to get there backwards until you come to one you can do this instant. Start by getting a job, any job. We have a tendency to want to be choosy, but it doesn't sound like that is a luxury you have. If you have a clean criminal record, I would suggest working with mentally handicapped group homes. Working with your sibling is a huge amount of experience in that field. Your life starts now. Get your ass up and move. Good luck.